Chapter 555, Amazing Little Ge Xiao Ke Xin and Han Xianyu looked at each other in confusion. What happened? The two of them and the surrounding people who hadn't gotten a clue what was going on quickly whipped out their phones and checked. After they found out what happened, their faces were in astonishment as well. Yi Wanwan stood there quietly without any expression. Qi Meilin pleaded like an insane woman, "Director Yi, quickly get someone to delete those pics." Yi's face was gloomy. It's too late, these things spread too rapidly, and since everyone's attention was currently on the Golden Orchid Awards ceremony, Qi Meilin's scandal exploded instantly once the ceremony was over. As expected, she saw that Qi Meilin's orgy party, Qi Meilin on drugs, and many other keywords were increasing in popularity once she opened various popular websites and blogs. What was worse was that Qi Meilin wasn't the only one at that party. There were also a number of artists from Emperor Sky present, and now the commenters gradually questioned whether all of Emperor Sky Entertainment was an obscene drug den. Everybody in the ballroom slowly found out about this gossip and whispered to one another as they looked in Qi Meilin's direction. I always thought Xiao Ke was the one who had a messy personal life, and really didn't expect that after Xiao Ke received the Golden Orchid Best Actress Award, it would be Qi Meilin who's so messed up. What's so surprising about that? It's like that in the entertainment industry, you can't really differentiate between what's real or fake. You're too naive to believe in whatever you see on the surface. There were already scandals about Qi Meilin's wild side before, alright? I heard that the senior management of Emperor Sky already warned her not to go overboard and gave quite a sum of money to PR, so nothing major happened in the past. Too bad she wants to court death, huh? It's definitely over for her this time. Emperor Sky's money went down the drain, and she even dragged a group of artists down with her. Ever since the change of management in Yi Group, things have really become messy. TSK, Qi Meilin felt those prickly gazes were like thorns of fire. When she thought about how her status in the industry would be destroyed, her face was filled with fear. Chairman Gu, Director Yi, you guys have to help me. Quickly, get PR to delete all those pics. Delete them. Shut up. Gu Yuze berated her coldly. With a scandal like this, PR would be no use. The news spread already, anybody could store the pictures privately, so there was no point in trying to delete them. Mixing with bad company already ruined her image and reputation, but taking drugs would be enough to wreck any artist's career in the industry. It was completely over for Qi Meilin. They spent so much resources and energy on her, but everything was wasted now. Not only that, but they still had to pay large sums to various major endorsement and advertising companies. When Yi heard someone saying, "Ever since the change of management in the Yi Group, things have really become messy," fury burned within her as it hit her right in her sore spot. She chided softly, "Alright, stop talking about it here. Let's get out already, haven't you embarrassed yourself enough?" The group of people avoided the crowd and swarm of reporters as they hurriedly left the ballroom. Before they left, Gu Yuze's dark and icy gaze paused on Yi Wanwan for a split second. Yi Wanwan returned a smile in a casual and relaxed manner, feeling extremely satisfied for her successful provocation. Gu Yuze's eyes constricted abruptly. He wasn't sure why, but this man gave him a very bad feeling. It was as if he'd seen a ghost. Everything that shouldn't have happened actually happened according to this man's predictions, making him feel even more troubled when he recalled what this man said earlier on, that his fortune might not be that prosperous. As for Xiao Ke and Han Xianyu, they witnessed once again how Yi Wanwan's predictions came true and were in a daze. That worked? You're amazing, little Ge. Don't tell me, you really know how to read people's fortunes? Chapter 556, I'm into the domineering type. Oh yes, Yi Bai, why don't you read my fortune too? As the saying goes, those on the waterfront pavilion get the moonlight first. 1. I've known you for quite some time but haven't gotten you to read my fortune yet. I feel a little left out. Han Xianyu suddenly recalled. Yi Wanwan turned to Han Xianyu helplessly. Your future's obviously as bright as the sun, what's there to read? You can predict my marriage. Or when I will have peach blossom luck? When Yi Wanwan heard his question, she lowered her eyes and thought deeply. Marriage. How will it be? Han Xianyu looked somewhat nervous. Yi Wanwan rubbed her chin and thought for a long while. You don't seem to have any. Han Xianyu was stunned. What? Nobody. Am I going to be alone for life? Yi Wanwan quickly said, no, what I meant was, sorry, I don't think I can calculate this for you. She might have some memory of the love life of more famous artists in the entertainment industry, but the problem was that she already changed the path of Han Xianyu's life. Hence, she had no idea what Han Xianyu's future would be like. Why can't you calculate it? Han Xianyu knitted his brows. Yi Wanwan didn't have any way of explaining herself and could only say, this thing is very deep. You wouldn't get it even if I told you. Anyway, there are some people who are more special, so I can't really read their fortunes. Han Xianyu looked a little confused. Special, Qiao Xian hurriedly leaned over and probed, what about me? Xianjia, your peach blossom luck has always been flourishing. Surely, you don't need me to calculate it for you, right? Yi Wanwan said. That's true, Qiao Xian spoke while she turned and took a quick glimpse at the little peach blossom next to her. She didn't expect that after so long, she would finally fancy a little Ge who truly satiated her appetite, but he already had a girlfriend, so she felt quite regretful. Oh right, I'll be having a celebration party tonight. Xiao Bai, are you coming? Qiao Xian asked. It's a treat from Xianjie. Obviously, it'd be rude to decline, but I have to call my girlfriend and tell her first, Yi Wanwan said. Qiao Xian raised her brows slightly. It's just a gathering, do you really need to report that? Han Xianyu tried to explain, Xianjia, Xiao Bai's girlfriend is quite strict. Qiao Xian looked shocked and seemed quite taken aback. I couldn't tell that Xiao Bai would be afraid of his girlfriend. After all, he was quite forward and flirtatious that night, taking on both men and women. Han Xianyu laughed and teased, actually, I was quite surprised when I found out too. Yi Wanwan thought to herself, that's right, I'm henpecked. So what? Qiao Xian mumbled, I thought you would prefer cute and helpless-looking girls. Yi Wanwan chuckled. Nah, I'm into the domineering type. Time flew by. Qi Mei Lin's scandal continued to spread and finally, Emperor Sky could only give up on her and announced they'd be shutting her out. As for Qiao Xian, due to her speech during the Golden Orchid Awards ceremony, the box office interest in The Legend of the Quiet Girl soared once again and broke numerous records. In addition, many people compared her to Qi Mei Lin. After being insulted and having her reputation tarnished for so many years, public opinion started to move towards a more positive perception of her. As for Yi Wanwan, she was occupied almost every day. Aside from working and learning, she spent most of her time training 11 and the others. The head captain assessment would be taking place in just a few days' time, and assuming the post of a master all of a sudden made her quite stressed out. Chapter 557, Glow of a Firefly Sea Residence, Bodyguard Meeting Room. Luing was dressed in a full black outfit and he sat on the main seat with a rigid and stern face. There were over 10 people seated in the meeting room. They were the leaders of various dark teams in the Sea family. Captain Luing, the assessment will be starting in a few days' time. You must teach that proud guy a good lesson, a certain buff leader said. Tisk. Luing made himself comfortable and narrowed his eyes. Junior, just call me Luing. The head captain is 11. Captain, what are you even talking about? 11's not even good enough to be the leader of Dark Team 1, how could he fight for your post? He's delusional. Junior sneered. He was the leader of Dark Team 3. Someone next to him said, I heard 11 has been training very hard and rarely comes out. He's probably preparing for this assessment. Another person chuckled. No matter how hard he trains, he'll still be a tick in Captain Lu Ying's eyes. What can he do? Oh right, let me tell you guys something. The leader of Dark Team 3 laughed. I heard that 11 begged Yuanwan to be his master and asked her to teach him some martial arts skills. Are you guys scared now? Following what Junior said, peals of laughter instantly the entire meeting room. 11's a dumbass. If Captain Luing didn't restrain himself for master's sake, Yuanwan would have been beaten to a pulp. As if she would have a chance to reveal her power at the bar. When that incident at the bar was brought up, a tinge of gloominess appeared in Lu Ying's eyes. That woman was all brute force and her skills were mediocre. I just can't understand why Master, who has always been wise, would be so taken by this flower vase to the point of losing his sanity. How could this woman be compared to Miss Qin Ruoxi? Captain Luing, 11 probably wanted to curry favor with Yuanwan and get her to sing praises about him in front of Master. By then, if Master relents, and really lets 11, a certain leader frowned. They were the Xi family's bodyguards, so how could they allow a silly woman to throw them into disorder? Tisk, the corners of Lu Ying's lips lifted upwards and revealed a sinister smile. His eyes were extremely terrifying. Yuanwan is simply Master's toy. Miss Ruoxi alone by Master's side is enough for him. Yuanwan just has the glow of a firefly, how can she compete with the moon? He didn't believe that his master would actually disrupt the entire head captain assessment for a woman like her. That's true. 11 asked Yuanwan to train him, probably viewing her as his life raft. He probably thinks Yuanwan has some martial arts skills he can learn to fight with our captain. The leader of Dark Team 3 laughed. Luing sneered. He had never cared about 11 or Yuanwan. Master almost lost his sanity because of a woman, that Yuanwan. What qualities or abilities does she have that makes her qualified to enter the Xi family and become the mistress of the household? She's the future mistress of the Xi family after all, you guys better be more careful, one of the leaders advised. Luing adjusted his position and his gaze swept across everyone. The future mistress of the household can only be Miss Qin Ruoxi. What Captain Luing is saying is, who on earth is Yuanwan and how can she compare to Miss Qin Ruoxi? Based on Miss Ruoxi's family background and personal abilities, that Yuanwan definitely can't compete with her. Chapter 558, He must have his reasons. While they were speaking, the door of the meeting room was pushed open lightly. Miss Ruoxi. Upon seeing her appearance, all the leaders quickly greeted her. Luing stood up immediately. Miss Ruoxi, please take a seat. No need. Ruoxi smiled. How can I simply sit here? It's meant for the chairman. Qin Ruoxi spoke and sat down next to Luing. A grim-looking man followed behind Qin Ruoxi. He was a close confidant of Luing named Yuan Sheng, a member of the bodyguard team. Recently, Yuan Sheng had been training alongside Qin Ruoxi. Qin Ruoxi and Luing were currently planning to get Yuan Sheng to compete to become the leader of Dark Team 1, kicking 11 out completely. Yuan Sheng, how's your training with Miss Ruoxi? Luing looked at the grave and stern-looking man. Head captain, Miss Ruoxi's highly skilled and very effective in her teaching. For this fight, you don't need to trouble yourself, captain. I'm able to finish 11 off myself, the grim-looking man replied, then turned to Qin Ruoxi. His face was completely filled with admiration. Due to Lu Ying's influence, these people also treated Qin Ruoxi as the future mistress of the Xi family. Luing, don't be discouraged either. Audiobook only got 11 to replace you temporarily in a moment of madness as a little punishment for you. Don't make such mistakes again next time. After the assessment, the post of head captain will belong to you again. Qin Ruoxi looked at Luing and assured him. Hearing that, there was darkness in Lu Ying's eyes. Miss Ruoxi, I really don't understand, master. Isn't it enough to have you by his side? Why must he be head over heels over a flower vase? Qin Ruoxi furrowed her brows instantly. Luing, don't spout nonsense. Audiobook must have his reasons. Reasons? Luing shook his head. In the past, Master was wise and respected. All the missions taken on by our bodyguards were important and crucial, but today, he actually made us go to the bar to protect that Yuan Wan. If not for Master's sake, I wouldn't let her live for beating me up. Speaking up to this point, the cold glow in Lu Ying's eyes started flashing. Lu Ying, you talk too much, Qin Ruoshi said. Miss Ruoshi. You're just too nice. Lu Ying couldn't let it go. I'm speaking the truth. Who does she think she is and how can she even compete with you? If she really becomes the mistress of the Xi family, wouldn't the Xi family be a complete mess? It's because you're always so tolerant that Yuan Wan is becoming more and more wild. Miss Ruoshi, you should let her know who the real mistress of the Xi family is and who Master really cares about. Master is completely blinded by that woman. Miss Ruoshi, you should speak up, Captain Lu Ying's absolutely right. What kind of missions did we have in the past? Never mind that a few days ago, Master made Captain and all of us go down to a bar to protect a woman who was drunk and crazy. She kept hurting everyone and in the end, the person who got punished was Captain Lu Ying. What's the meaning of this? The leader of Dark Team 3 chimed in. Qin Ruoshi frowned. Lu Ying, you have anger inside you, so let it out during the assessment this time. Next time, don't complain so much. If Ajio hears this, even I won't be able to protect you. Miss Ruoshi, Lu Ying wanted to say more but was waved off by Qin Ruoshi. I believe that Ajio has his reasons for his actions. Chapter 559, Teacher is right. Seeing that Qin Ruoshi was still shielding Master even when things had reached this point, the hatred for Yuan Wan from all the bodyguards present almost rose to a climax. Today, the entire Dark Team 1 is taking refuge in Yuan Wan, and since this is the case, it's time that Dark Team 1 gets a thorough cleanse. Lu Ying turned to Yuan Sheng. Yuan Sheng, you've been learning from Miss Ruoshi for quite a while. Don't let Miss Ruoshi and I down this time, you must become the leader of Dark Team 1. Hearing that, Yuan Sheng nodded and scoffed. Captain, don't worry. 11 is useless. It'll be easy to take him down. Good. Lu Ying nodded, then stood up and walked to the window. He looked towards the training room of Dark Team 1 and sneered. 11, you really think Master will take away my post as captain just for that woman, huh? Getting Yuan Wan to be your trainer, your position as the leader of Dark Team 1 will be gone too. I'm really eager to see what that flower vase can actually teach you. At the same time, in Dark Team 1's training room, pow! Pow slap! Two figures flew across swiftly, then were slammed to the ground. Teacher, let's try again. 11, who was filled with bruises and a swollen face, rushed into the ring once again. Teach, teacher. I would like to rest. After the delicate man stood up, he stood at the side of the ring as he stuttered. Stop. Little stutterer, did you say you want to rest? Yuan Wan wiped the stream of perspiration off her forehead. Why yes, teacher, you're right. The little stutterer nodded. Little Stutterer wasn't his real name, it was just that when he first entered the Xi family's bodyguard team, everyone started calling him Little Stutterer and nobody actually asked for his real name before. Little Stutterer, you should take a break. 11 longed for one too. For several days, other than eating and sleeping, 11 and Little Stutter had been living in the training room, and even Yuan Wan didn't leave the room at all. Yuan Wan didn't mind it. At first, when she started learning about martial arts and fighting, she wasn't interested at all, but after some time, her interest grew, and today, if she didn't practice a few moves in a day, she would feel very uncomfortable. She was at a point when even if 11 and Little Stutterer wanted to take a day or half day off, Yuan Wan wouldn't let the two of them leave. However, during this period, 11 and Little Stutter improved drastically. They were completely different people compared to before Yuan Wan started training them. Teacher, watch my moves. 11 yelled. His right arm was like an alert snake swimming in midair, then he instantly bent his palm into a claw and aimed for Yuan Wan's neck. At this moment, Yuan Wan was standing a distance away, not moving at all. Success. Seeing that his blow was going to land, 11 was elated. However, just as a broad smile appeared on 11's face, Yuanwan dodged to her left instinctively, causing 11's claw to grab only air. What? 11 was stunned. Taking advantage of the fact that 11 was in a daze, Yuanwan swept her left leg out like a dragon. Pow! I-oh! 11 howled in pain. He was sent flying 7 or 8 meters away by Yuanwan's kick. 11, what are you doing? Yuanwan frowned and chided him. Teacher. 11 was somewhat embarrassed. I told you before, you have to focus before the assessment. Don't be affected by any emotions. Your happiness, anger, or whatever emotions you have to hide them and can only release them after the assessment. Otherwise, a single mistake could cost you your life. Yuanwan advised him sternly. Actually, she was simply teaching him according to her own state of mind when she fought. Each time she sparred with 11 and Little Stutterer, her mind would be completely clear, and because of that, she had the ability to see clearly and calmly discern the enemy's next moves and thoughts. Chapter 560, Counterattack, Captain, don't let your emotions. The Little Stutterer stood below the ring and could see this fight clearly, so he simply voiced his opinion. You should just let the teacher do the talking. 11's lips twitched slightly. All right, the Little Stutterer nodded. What Little Stutterer meant was, don't let your emotions affect your skills. When you're fighting, abandon all your emotions completely, Yuanwan said. Yes. 11 nodded immediately. Again. Yuanwan beckoned 11 with her finger. Teacher, why don't you make the first move? 11 laughed. During the time he'd been learning from Yuanwan, she had always been attacked and never was the first to make a move. This time, Yuanwan shook her head. It wasn't that she didn't want to make the first move, but it was only when she felt threatened that her body reacted instinctively. If she attacked first, that mysterious aura would never appear. So, she could only be attacked and was unable to be the attacker. Teacher, I've only been learning how to counterattack. If this was the assessment, what should I do? 11 looked at Yuanwan and smiled bitterly. Yuanwan pondered for a moment. Isn't it easy? Just let the other party attack you first. 11 frowned and felt like this advice wasn't too useful. What do you know? This is called coping with shifting events by sticking to a fundamental principle. It's a top-notch skill in martial arts. Yuanwan pretended to be cool and all-knowing. Really, 11 was still a little doubtful. Am I the teacher or are you the teacher? Yuanwan was somewhat displeased. She was a martial arts master, yet this disciple of hers actually dared to doubt her. You're the teacher. You're right, it's me who's dim-witted. 11 quickly tried to take back what he said. The sparring continued. Yuanwan stood in the middle of the ring and beckoned 11. Come, hit me. Receiving Yuanwan's provocation, 11 glared at her, raised his fists and charged towards her. In the next second, Yuanwan's left hand moved and using the lightest strength, she blocked 11's punch and hit him with her right fist. I need to calm down. Seeing Yuanwan's incoming fist, 11 took a deep breath and curbed all his emotions. Pow! Almost in an instant, 11's body swiftly grabbed hold of Yuanwan's fist. At this moment, the Little Stutterer's jaw dropped and he was completely flabbergasted. Ever since they started learning from Yuanwan, this was the first time 11 actually blocked an attack from her. I did it. 11 looked at the fist in his palm, completely shocked, then the shock turned into happiness immediately. Ahahaha, I did it. Pow! While 11 was complacent, he was sent flying again by Yuanwan's kick. Yuanwan sighed and spoke sincerely as she looked at 11 who was groaning in pain after being kicked by her. Seems like you haven't succeeded. The three of them continued training without stopping. For the sake of the assessment, 11 and Little Stutterer worked really hard. Although they were always tortured during Yi Wanwan's training sessions, after they sensed the improvement in their skills, they didn't find it tiring at all and felt even more rejuvenated. The final day in Dark Team 1's training room. Tomorrow will be the actual fight. Training stops now, both of you should get a good rest. Yi Wanwan looked at her two disciples. Thank you, teacher. 11 was filled with confidence. Little stutterer, you've improved a lot after learning from teacher. It shouldn't be a problem for you to get a post as a leader. 11 looked at little stutterer. Why yes, captains, right. Little stutterer nodded continuously. Chapter 561, Head Captain Assessment. Early in the morning at the C family's competition grounds, aside from a couple of higher-ups from the C family, Su-yi was also there early. Each time they had the Dark Team bodyguard competition, Su-yi would be the judge, and because of the change in the head captain, Lu-ing and many higher-ups from the C family would also be judges along with Su-yi. At this moment, the competition grounds were filled with people. Other than the bodyguards who were in the middle of their missions and couldn't make it, the other bodyguards were all present. Not long after, 11 along with the members of Dark Team 1 and arrived at the scene. Seeing the arrival of 11 and the others, many leaders, who were supporters of Lu-ing, curled their lips into sinister smiles, especially after they saw Yi Wanwan next to 11. The disdain in their eyes was apparent. Ha! 11 is going nuts from thinking about the post of head captain. He actually got that woman to be his teacher. After being in this post for some time, of course you wouldn't want it to be taken away, but his skills can't compare to others. Among all the teams, Dark Team 1 is the weakest, and compared to all the other team leaders, 11's skills are second to Lu-ing, so how could he even dream of fighting to be the head captain? Seeing how 11 was full of confidence, Dark Team 3's leader sneered. An ignorant man is the happiest. Does he really think he can be head captain over Lu-ing? One should have a better gauge of his own abilities. Otherwise, how is he any different from a buffoon? That woman, aside from coaxing master, what else can she do? If it wasn't for her, head captain Lu-ing wouldn't be punished by master, letting 11 gain an advantage. TSK, should we give in to 11 when he gets in the ring and starts giving us some girly punches? Girly punch, did he learn them from Yi Wanwan? Ha ha ha. Following the ridicule of some of the leaders, many bodyguards started laughing as well. Shut your trap. On the competition stage, Su-yi's eyes were frosty as he swept his gaze across everybody present. Hearing that, the team leaders knitted their brows and were quite upset, but they knew well enough not to speak anymore. These bodyguards were still quite afraid of Su-yi. Su-yi looked really nice, but when he really got angry, even ex-head captain Lu-ing might not be able to handle him. As the saying went, a scholar can never win an argument with a military man even when he's right, but Su-yi was of another species. He was the complete opposite of this. Su-yi deserved quite a bit of credit for his efforts in allowing them to reach their current status in the C family as the Dark Team guards. If it wasn't for Su-yi's planning behind the scenes for the development of the bodyguard team, they might just be ordinary guards in the C family. Head Captain Lu-ing. Not long after, the leader of Dark Team 3 shouted at Lu-ing, who was making his way over. Lu-ing arrived and spoke indifferently. Before the end of this assessment, the head captain is still 11. Hearing that, some of the leaders chuckled. 11 was a temporary head captain, but in their hearts, he was no different from a clown. During these past few months, nobody treated him like a real head captain. On most days, 11 gave them orders and most of them outwardly obeyed but secretly ignored him. Some even turned a deaf ear. What head captain Lu-ing meant was that at this moment, 11 is the head captain, but after the competition, it's another discussion altogether who the head captain is. The leader of Dark Team 3 laughed. That's what you think, I didn't say that. Lu-ing replied plainly. Of course, of course. The leader of Dark Team 3 nodded. Chapter 562, Extremely Strong. Lu-ing looked at 11 who was seated nearby and strode over with his lips curved upward slightly. 11, perform well during this competition. Don't let the big guy down. Hearing this, 11 responded, it seems like there's nobody who wants me to get the post of head captain, huh? That may not be true. I believe Miss Yi Wanwan wishes you have some sort of breakthrough. I heard you have Miss Wanwan as your teacher. Lu Ying's eyes glistened and looked indifferently towards Yi Wanwan, who was seated among the audience. That's right, 11 admitted it fully. Teacher is extremely strong. Too bad I was only able to learn a bit from her, but even the bit of knowledge she taught me should be enough for the competition. Extremely strong. The corners of Lu Ying's lips lifted up, revealing a subtle look of ridicule while a tinge of contempt appeared in his eyes. That night at the bar, if it wasn't for Master's sake, he would have taken that woman's life with just his fingers. However, 11 actually used the words, extremely powerful, to describe Yi Wanwan. 11. Lu Ying raised his right arm and placed it gently around 11's left shoulder as he spoke with utmost sincerity. It's not a bad thing if you wish to improve, continue climbing upwards and obtain higher positions, but the position and your own abilities should match. The most important thing is, as Junior said, you must know your own abilities. It's no use to turn to any old doctor you can find if you're terminally ill. 1. Hearing what Lu Ying said, 11 knitted his brows. It was that Lu Ying insulted him, but what he said was filled with insults towards his teacher and he didn't even try to be subtle with it. Lu Ying. ELE. Captain ELE. Captain 11, will beat you, for sure. The little stutterer, who was standing next to Lu Ying, spoke up. Tisk, Lu Ying scoffed. I really wanted to learn some impressive-looking but useless moves from 11. It's just that, he might not be able to last till I get in the ring. Lu Ying shook his head and left immediately after speaking. After Lu Ying left, the members of Dark Team 1 had their fists clenched tightly. Among all the Dark Teams, Dark Team 1 wasn't as weak as the others thought. However, each time they were on a mission, the head captain simply ignored them, almost like they didn't exist at all. It wasn't until 11 became the temporary head captain that their missions became better gradually. Each one of their missions was executed perfectly, they were very efficient and not inferior to any of the other teams at all. Today, Lu Ying was no longer the head captain, yet he was still arrogant and tyrannical, completely overlooking head captain 11. Captain, you must let them see the strength of Dark Team 1. That's right. The other dark teams always look at our Dark Team 1 through tinted glasses. 2. We're just as effective as the other teams in completing our missions, and Captain 11 is just as skilled as Lu Ying. I think Captain 11's a better leader than Lu Ying. Look at our team, we were always looked down on, so we must let them know who the strongest dark team is. At this moment, the members of Dark Team 1 were feeling indignant at this injustice. Captain, you must get the post of head captain. A certain member of Dark Team 1 gritted his teeth. Hearing that, 11 responded, I'll do my best. If it was 3 months ago, 11 wouldn't have so much confidence for sure. But things were different now. After undergoing such high-intensity training, maybe I can do it. 11's eyes lit up slightly. Chapter 563, Challenge from the Spectator Seats. Yi Wanwan glanced at 11 from time to time and knitted her brows. Yi Wanwan had been interacting a lot with 11 lately and found that he had a lot on his mind. He showed signs of low confidence which recklessly appeared between his brows. Yi Wanwan did mention it occasionally, but 11 was always silent about it and didn't comment. At this moment, 11 had his fists balled up and the light in his eyes was flashing non-stop. In the past, although he wanted to be the head captain, he wasn't persistent about pursuing it. Can I, really? 11 clenched his fists tighter. A while later, Qin Ruoshi walked over slowly while Yuanxing followed behind her. Miss Ruoshi, why are you here? Lu Ying stepped forward when he saw her. Qin Ruoshi smiled calmly and said, to support you guys. A tinge of gratefulness appeared in Lu Ying's eyes. Miss Ruoshi, there won't be any accidents during this year's competition. Hearing that, Qin Ruoshi nodded and exchanged a few words with Yuan Sheng before walking towards the spectator seats. Hee hee, Captain Luing, we have to trouble you to teach 11 a lesson, huh? After Qin Ruoshi left, Yuan Sheng turned to Luing and chuckled. At the moment, Luing didn't have much to say. Before the start of the competition, I'll go through the rules once. Su Yi scanned the entire area and said, every bodyguard from the C family is entitled to take part and fight for the position of team leader. After successfully advancing to a team leader position, you can challenge the head captain, 11. You'll only have one chance, and if you win, you'll replace 11 for the time being until the end of the competition. At the end of the competition, the winner will be promoted to head captain. You can use any cold weapons in the ring, but sneak attacks and the use of firearms are prohibited. Understand? Yes. All the Dark Team bodyguards responded in unison. Good. Sui nodded and turned to the few higher-ups in the C family. Is there anything you would like to add? No, thank you. A certain higher-up replied. Okay, since this is the case, the competition starts now. Sui nodded, then walked out of the ring. After Sui left, the bodyguards didn't make a sound. In the rules, any bodyguards from the dark teams were allowed to join in the challenge, but having said that, there weren't many interested in joining. Each team leader's strength was not to be underestimated, and it was very difficult to beat them. The chances of winning were very slim, and if you failed, it was equivalent to offending the team leader and he might settle scores with you after the challenge. It was quite an ordeal to have someone make your life difficult every day. You're not bad, why don't you try to challenge the leader of Dark Team 4? A certain bodyguard turned to the young woman next to him and whispered. The woman shook her head fervently. I'm not going to do that for sure. The leader of Dark Team 4 is known to be ruthless, and if I fail, he will definitely hold a grudge against me, saying that I'm trying to snatch his post. If he takes revenge, I won't be able to. I'll do it. All of a sudden, Little Stutterer walked up to the ring and pointed at the leader of Dark Team 3. I would, like, to challenge, the leader of Dark Team. Team 3. Seeing this, all the bodyguards were stunned. This guy can't even speak properly and is a nobody, but he actually dared to challenge the leader of Dark Team 3? The strong and buff leader of Dark Team 3 stood up slowly and walked into the ring casually as he gave Little Stutterer side eye. You want to challenge me? The leader of Dark Team 3 scoffed. Why yes, you're right. Little Stutterer nodded. Chapter 564, Hit Me. Although he was unhappy, the leader of Dark Team 3 didn't say much. You deserve to be praised for your courage. The leader of Dark Team 3 nodded, then beckoned Little Stutterer with his finger. Come at me then. You attack first, Little Stutterer said. Little Stutterer had Yuan as his teacher, but none of the bodyguards knew this, so they definitely wouldn't know that Little Stutterer learned how to counterattack from Yuan and wasn't very good at attacking first. Tisk. The leader of Dark Team 3 sneered. As the leader of Dark Team 3, obviously I have to let you attack first. Otherwise, people might call me a bully. Cut, Little Stutterer pointed at the leader of Dark Team 3, the crap. I'm letting, you attack, so come, come hit me, if you dare. Little Stutterer's tone was very provocative, almost identical to Yuan's. Following what Little Stutterer said, all the bodyguards were taken aback. Where did this guy come from? He has the guts to talk to the leader of Dark Team 3 like this. If he's defeated, how is he going to continue being a bodyguard on a dark team? You're courting death. The leader of Dark Team 3 was furious. There were thousands of Dark Team bodyguards in the C family, but none of the team leaders even spoke to him this way. Yet this little nobody from Dark Team 1 actually mocked him like that. Swish! In no time, the leader of Dark Team 3 was akin to a moving hill as he charged towards Little Stutterer. He was able to travel to Little Stutter's side with just a few steps. Get lost. The leader of Dark Team 3 grabbed Little Stutterer by his collar with his wide palm and looked as if he was about to throw him out of the ring. However, in the next second, the leader's face changed slightly. Little Stutterer raised his right arm slightly. He used his palm instead of his fist, and his arm was like a wary snake while his palm was similar to the tongue of a snake. Using an extremely tricky and weird angle, he instantly attacked the leader of Dark Team 3. Then, without reducing his level of strength, he smacked him with his palm with lightning speed. This smack from Little Stutterer wasn't the result of careful consideration, it was almost instinctive. Since this was the case, the speed was even faster, resulting in the Dark Team 3 leader not having any time to react, much less counterattack. His attacks were rising like the waves and he didn't stop, it was like an endless wave. The leader of Dark Team 3 didn't seem to understand what just happened and was hit in the jaw by Little Stutterer. Under everyone's astonished gazes, the leader of Dark Team 3 flew like a cannon and slammed to the ground outside the ring, landing among the crowd. After a long silence, there was an uproar. Wow, where did that guy come from? He defeated the leader of Dark Team 3 with just one attack. Where did this expert appear from? I haven't heard of him before. What's his name? At this moment, the leader of Dark Team 3 looked at Little Stutterer with slight fear and panic. He never thought he would be defeated in such an embarrassing way. It didn't make any sense. The leader of Dark Team 3 didn't know what happened. That fella's reaction was oddly quick and the speed of his attack was so terrifyingly swift. How was it? I told you, to cut the crap, now, no, that. I'm the expert, huh? Little Stutterer looked at the leader of Dark Team 3 who was below the ring. Brother Stutterer, you're amazing. A few bodyguards exclaimed in surprise. Don't call me Stutter, remember, my name is Feng Xian Yi. Little Stutterer corrected them. Chapter 565, I Don't Hit Women. Everyone was shocked that Little Stutterer defeated the leader of Dark Team 3. Little Stutterer is amazing. What Little Stutterer? It's Feng Xian Yi, Leader Feng. Little Stutterer said sternly. Right, it's Feng Xian Yi, Leader Feng. At this moment, the members of Dark Team 1 started echoing him. When Little Stutterer was in Dark Team 1, although his skills weren't too bad, he was mediocre compared to all the other bodyguards. Because of his stutter, he was always made fun of and bullied. After defeating the leader of Dark Team 3 in today's fight, it allowed him to prove himself. Feng Xian Yi won the challenge and will be replacing the leader of Dark Team 3 for the time being, while the original leader of Dark Team 3 will be demoted to an ordinary bodyguard and can continue the challenge. If he defeats Feng Xian Yi, he'll win his post back. Sui walked up to the ring and announced the outcome of the fight. Although Little Stutterer was the winner for this fight and took over the leadership post, it was only temporary until the end of the challenge. I'll challenge him. At that moment, a girl from Dark Team 2 went up. The girl was dressed in a tight black shirt and had a long ponytail. She carried herself confidently and was very energetic. I don't hit, don't hit, WOM, women. Little Stutterer stared at the girl in the ring. You, Little Stutterer, seem like you have some abilities. Little Missy here would like to have a taste of it, the female bodyguard said. Hearing that, Little Stutterer furrowed his brows. ISSS said, call me Feng Xian Yi. Defeat me and I won't call you Little Stutterer. The girl laughed. I don't hit women. Little Stutterer pondered for a second before repeating himself. HNG, I think you're simply looking down on me. I'll make sure you regret it. The girl was slightly angry. A shiny dagger flickered in her right palm and she immediately took a step forward, swinging it towards Little Stutterer. In a fraction of a second, little stutterer's right leg swept horizontally like a dragon with tremendous force. Bang! This kick landed right at the web between her thumb and forefinger where she was holding the dagger. The girl was in deep pain. Her dagger fell out of her hands and she retreated many steps back. Why you should admit defeat, little stutterer said. TSK, you wish. This is only the beginning. The girl charged towards little stutterer once more. However, when she reached little stutterer's side, she was lifted up by him. What are you doing? The girl blushed and berated him. Little stutterer didn't care and carried her to the side of the ring. Put me down. The girl bellowed. Right away, little stutterer said. In the next second, little stutterer reached the side of the ring, released both arms and threw the girl outside the ring. Out of boundary. Feng Xianyi wins. Su Yi announced. At this moment, all the bodyguards burst out in laughter. This was a rare scene in a fight. He said he wouldn't hit a woman and he really didn't. Leader Feng really has some antics, He actually threw her directly outside the ring. This is my first time seeing something like this. This is an eye-opener. Some of the team leaders started cracking harmless jokes. After that, many talented bodyguards from Dark Team 3 were upset and went up on stage to challenge him as well, but all of them were thrown out of the ring by Little Stutterer. From that moment on, nobody was interested in challenging Little Stutterer and the stronger bodyguards had their eyes on the post of head captain, so they didn't bother fighting with Little Stutterer. Chapter 566, Checks and Balances. In the audience, Yi Wanwan looked at Su Yi and said, Su Yi. Su Yi walked over to Yi Wanwan and smiled. Miss Wanwan. This selection of leaders is decided based on their combat skills alone? Yi Wanwan was a little curious. It seemed a little sloppy to decide the team leaders and head captain solely on this. Miss Wanwan, this is indeed the case. The rules have been like this for the competition every year and they were established by the master previously, Su Yi explained. Audiobook established this? A hint of surprise surfaced in Yi Wanwan's eyes. Shouldn't the selection criteria also include overall strength such as leadership skills, general consensus, the degree of loyalty, etc.? Yi Wanwan voiced out her opinion. Hearing what Yi Wanwan said, Su Yi smiled and his gaze swept across the bodyguards as he spoke softly, Miss Wanwan, look at these bodyguards. The strength of each and every one of them is much stronger than any ordinary person. As a member of the Dark Team, most of them were once runaways who had their lives on the line. What do you mean? Yi Wanwan didn't understand. Miss Wanwan, do you think the different teams get along well? Su Yi asked. Doesn't seem like it, Yi Wanwan answered truthfully. That's only natural. Su Yi said, this is where Master's brilliant. The Dark Team is controlled remotely by the C family. Any current situations and commands are all handled by the higher-ups, they only have to act accordingly. The most important thing, as Miss Wanwan mentioned just now, is loyalty. Su Yi thought for a moment and continued, aside from a few missions from the C family, the Dark Team also has to uphold the safety of the C family. There are almost 1,000 members in the Dark Team and if every member works together and there is one person who wants to rebel, they would all rebel together at once. What would it mean for the C family then? Yi Wanwan knitted her brows. She hadn't considered that before. So, Master established that they have to compete with their combat skills for the post of captain and team leader so that by doing so, there would be competition between the various bodyguards and they wouldn't unite as one, including Lu Ying. When he was the head captain in the past, the team leaders and members bowed to him on the surface but secretly, who didn't wish to defeat him. The corners of Su Yi's mouth lifted upwards. The bodyguards must never unite and this is the master's golden technique. When there's competition, there will be checks and balances and when there are checks and balances, then we can truly control the guards. Actually, many of them are like 11 and Feng Xianyi, they all want to climb upwards. But 11 and Feng Xianyi are different in that they dared to speak up while most bodyguards and team leaders didn't seem interested in competing on the surface, but they knew very well what they're thinking in their hearts. Yi Wanwan took a moment to understand the rationale behind it. Even if 11 obtained the position of head captain today, there would be more people who would want to defeat 11 in the future. And all 11 could do was keep training himself in order to handle those future challenges. So who would have the mind to rebel if a person had to worry about all that? This trick was indeed the so-called golden technique, which was why Si Han's personnel never had any major riots. Yi Wanwan approved of Si Han's thought process completely. After all, there were thousands of bodyguards, and if they were bribed to rebel and hurt the Si family, the outcome would be catastrophic. However, because of this contesting rule that Si Han created, they would never unite. Even if the head captain was bribed and wanted to rebel, there would still be the various team leaders who had their own plans. So this was something that would never happen. Chapter 567, I would like to challenge you. The individual dark teams were united, just the way Dark Team 1 was. But between the various teams, they would never be united as one. If all the dark teams unite, they'll be banished from the Si family forever. A cold light flashed in Su Yi's eyes. Su Yi was very clear about such checks and balances. If they lost this balance, it would be a ticking time bomb for the Si family. At this moment, a thunderous applause resounded as Lu Ying went up on stage. After winning the challenge, he could now be Dark Team 4's leader. The previous leader's face was gloomy as he glared at Lu Ying, who was standing in the ring with both his fists balled up. There were so many other team leaders he could challenge, but he chose me. TSK, Captain Lu Ying's strength is indeed amazing. I'm impressed. Seeing Lu Ying's eyes on him, the leader of Dark Team 4 shot him daggers with his eyes and forced a smile. Captain Lu Ying is the leader of Dark Team 4 now. He is now entitled to challenge head captain 11. Someone exclaimed below the ring. Hearing that, Lu Ying turned to 11. Hang on. Suddenly, Yuan Sheng stepped up. What? Lu Ying looked at Yuan Sheng. I would like to challenge Lu Ying. Yuan Sheng spoke indifferently. What did you say? Lu Ying narrowed his eyes. I said, I would like to challenge you. Yuan Sheng scoffed. Lu Ying hadn't expected that his own confidant would actually challenge him. Lu Ying, I've been practicing with Miss Ruo Shi for quite some time and believe that my skills have overtaken yours. Can't I challenge you and take over your place, huh? This is also what Miss Ruo Shi wants, Yuan Sheng said coldly. What Miss Ruo Shi wants? Lu Ying scowled. Yuan Sheng, your wings have hardened and this is what you want. Do you think I would believe you when you say that this is what Miss Ruo Shi wants? TSK, it doesn't matter. This is how the dark teams in the Si family work, the strongest have the most power, Yuan Sheng said. I think you're just courting death. Lu Ying glared at him icily and his body moved swiftly. His fist turned into an open palm and he used it as a knife as he aimed for Yuan Sheng. That's all you got? Yuan Sheng's reaction was faster, his body shifted slightly and he dodged Lu Ying's hand, then he landed a punch on Lu Ying's stomach. Lu Ying's face changed and he retreated a couple of steps back. My turn. Yuan Sheng sneered and pressed him hard with each step, attacking at random. Yuan Sheng's speed and strength was almost a perfect combination. His footwork was unusually quick and in just half a minute, Lu Ying was already retreating one step after another. Yuan Sheng actually improved so much, Lu Ying was shocked. Lu Ying, this is enough to prove that I'm stronger than you, so the one who's going to challenge 11 and become the head captain is me. Yuan Sheng looked at Lu Ying disapprovingly. After 100 strikes, the distracted Lu Ying was pressed by Yuan Sheng tightly and finally revealed many weaknesses. Yuan Sheng found the right timing and pushed Lu Ying outside the ring with just one palm. This is impossible. Lu Ying closed his eyes in complete disbelief. I was actually defeated by Yuan Sheng. How could I be defeated? Lu Ying, you've been hogging this head captain post of yours for quite some time, it's time for a change. The dark teams of the C family don't need to enter a rut, understand? Yuan Sheng looked at Luing coldly. You. Luing gritted his teeth and his whole face nearly contorted. This Yuan Sheng was just a dog by my side. I haven't even fought 11 but already lost to him. Darn it. Chapter 568, I shall let you attack first. He, the one who vowed that he would take back the post of head captain, actually lost to his lackey right in front of everyone. Luing felt as if there was a wild beast charging and howling in his chest. All kinds of emotions were tearing him apart. Not far off, Yuan Wan was astonished as well. Luing actually lost. In her previous life, she didn't have much memory of this Yuan Sheng guy and he didn't accomplish much then, but in this life, he actually defeated Luing. I want to challenge 11. At this current moment, Yuan Sheng's voice resounded in the entire area. Sure. 11 accepted the challenge. He stood up from his head captain seat and walked into the ring. Do your best, beat him, to death. Little Stutterer gave his support from his team leader seat. All the best, Captain. Let this guy know who's awesome. TSK, how is someone like him qualified to be the captain? He's just a lackey and was a dog by Lu Ying's side, yet he bit the hand that fed him. Exactly. If he becomes the head captain, we won't even know if he sells us out during missions. Currently, the members of Dark Team 1 were deep in discussion. Aside from the members of Dark Team 1, everyone else was giving their support to Yuan Sheng and trying to win favor with him. In the eyes of the bystanders, even Luing was defeated by Yuan Sheng, not to mention 11. This competition had unexpectedly revealed a bunch of dark horses. Come on. I'd like to see how formidable this head captain is. Yuan Sheng snarled and beckoned 11 with his index finger. As the head captain, I shall let you attack first, 11 said. Oh. Let me attack first. Yuan Sheng smiled. In his eyes, 11 wasn't even worth a mention. Hit me if you have the guts. 11 learned this from Little Stutterer. TSK, that's a little too easy, huh? Yuan Sheng ridiculed him, then stepped forward and traveled a few meters across, reaching 11's side instantly. Die. Yuan Sheng pulled out a combination of punches. However, 11 stood in the same spot and didn't move at all. He used his palm as a shield and brandished it in the air. Both their fists and palms struck one another. Yuan Sheng attacked with several moves in succession yet was unable to gain any advantage on 11. What? Yuan Sheng retreated a few steps back. He knitted his brows and looked at 11 strangely. He knew 11's strength very well. He normally couldn't block even 3 moves from him. But just now, 11 actually dismissed all his attacks with ease. 11 was like a flawless fortress without any blemishes on his body. He was even more like a hedgehog covered in sharp thorns. Nobody could lay their hands on him at all. What is it? Come hit me. 11 yelled. However, Yuan Sheng furrowed his brows like he just realized something. This time, he didn't attack first and said, you come over. Come over if you've got the guts. 11 beckoned. Head captain, why don't you attack first? The two of them dragged it out like this and nobody moved even after 10 minutes. Come on, fight, fuck. Are you guys fighting? What are you doing? Is this a date? Damn it. I'm falling asleep, please start fighting. All the bodyguards were somewhat speechless. They didn't know what 11 and Yuan Sheng were doing. Not far off, Yuan Wan coughed lightly and covered her face quietly. Why don't I know how to attack first and why did I only teach 11 how to counterattack? That Yuan Sheng has obviously seen through this trick. After some time, Su Yi said, Yuan Sheng, you are the challenger. If there's no clear winner within the next half an hour, it'll be taken that you've lost. Chapter 569, Good-for-nothing. Yuan Sheng was familiar with this rule as well and didn't need Su Yi's reminder. Tisk, suddenly, Yuanxing straightened up and said faintly, 11, I know your past, just a cowardly good-for-nothing like you actually have the nerve to fight for the post of head captain? What did you say? 11 furrowed his brows. TSK. Yuanxing shook his head and smiled. 4 years ago, before you picked up martial arts and joined the C family's dark team, you had a girlfriend who was your childhood sweetheart and you guys had quite a good relationship, At the reminder of the past, 11's body stiffened. What a pity, that night while you and your girlfriend were strolling in the park, both of you met some armed drunkards. Yuanxing's smile grew wider. Enough. 11 clenched his fists and his breathing became more rapid. Why? You don't dare to face the truth, huh? Yuanxing mocked. Too bad, that thug insulted your girlfriend right in front of you, and you actually ran away, ha ha ha, leaving your own girlfriend to fend for herself. You're really selfless. Stop, that's enough. 11's nails dug deep into the flesh of his palms and fresh blood started trickling down. That night, your girlfriend threw herself into the lake and took her own life. While she felt the most helpless and scared, she was abandoned by her boyfriend. That's really pitiful. Yuanxing shook his head. I did not, shut up. 11's eyes started welling up. The incident from 4 years ago surfaced in his head. That time, he was still a teenager and they were severely outnumbered. The drunkards were also armed. He ran away, but it was to seek help. It was just that he was too late. After his girlfriend was humiliated by those people, she threw herself into the lake. He hadn't forgiven himself all these years and this was also the reason he picked up martial arts. After he successfully acquired the skills, he found those drunkards and sliced their heads off personally. He also became a runaway from then on. After that, he was taken in by the C family and became a member of the dark team. I didn't run, nor did I think about abandoning her. He was forced to do so according to the situation. He needed to seek help. Her smile appeared in his memory and 11 howled like a trapped beast. Shut up. Shut up. I didn't run. I didn't, you're a coward, a good-for-nothing. You should have died together with your girlfriend then. Why are you here today, trying to be head captain? Who are you to occupy that post? Yuanxing spoke quickly. You, darn it, shut the hell up. Shut up. At this moment, 11 completely broke out of his stance and was like a wild beast. He didn't care about anything else as he charged towards Yuanxing with an evil, malicious air around him. Seeing that he got what he wanted, Yuanxing was all smiles. Pow. Yuanxing threw a punch which landed on 11's stomach, causing 11 to fall to the ground. Go to hell. 11 bellowed and tried to get up. However, Yuanxing stepped on 11's chest and looked at 11 condescendingly. You are a good-for-nothing who can't even protect your own girlfriend. Why is someone like you still alive? Why don't you die instead? It's only fair to your girlfriend. Bullshit. 11's eyes were bloodshot and the veins in his forehead protruded. You're a coward who abandoned your own girlfriend. Admit it. Yuanxing gave a cunning smile. At this moment, there was an uproar below the ring. Nobody expected that the nameless 11 would have a past like this. I didn't. Listening to Yuanxing and the buzzing discussion in the crowd, 11's mind was in a whirl, revealing all his weaknesses. Chapter 570, Do not insult her at this moment. Yuanwan's expression was frosty. Su-yi, can someone like this even join the dark team? Isn't it against the rules to use a method like this? Su-yi shook his head. Although that should be the case, the rules only state that firearms and sneak attacks aren't allowed during the fight. There was a resounding thump of a body being slammed in the ring as 11 fell to the side of the ring after receiving a punch. Yuanxing laughed and walked over as he stomped on 11's face. Admit defeat yet, great head captain. 11 propped himself up with his arms and staggered as he got up once again. His sweat blurred his vision and everything in front of him was hazy. You're really courting death? Yuanxing sneered. In the next second, there was a swishing sound. His fingers were like a sharp claw as they sped rapidly towards the head captain ring around 11's finger. Ah ah ah, 11 cried out. Then there was the sound of bones being crushed. Click. The silver ring landed on the marble surface in the arena, producing a clear sound. Captain. Captain 11. Yuan Sheng. That bastard. The members of Dark Team 1 were so mad that their eyes were red, but because of the rules, they weren't able to interfere. As for the other bodyguards, they were indifferent. 11 was weak, so he couldn't blame anyone for this. Even if he died in the ring, he could only blame his own weakness. Yuan Sheng bent down, picked up the ring and looked at 11 with complete disdain and ridicule. TSK, a useless scoundrel indeed. You can't even keep the ring on, yet you're still thinking of being the head captain? Due to the mental distress and excruciating pain in his body, 11's body already reached its limit, but he was still unwilling to back down, unwilling to give up. Yuan Sheng put the ring on his own finger casually and said condescendingly, Head captain, what's wrong? Weren't you full of confidence before the competition? You even said you have a formidable teacher and can defeat all of us, huh? In the end, this is the rubbish that woman produced. What a great show. Lying on the ground and almost at his last breath, 11 dug his nails into his palms and used all of his strength to get up. He stammered, Shut up, you can insult me. I'm not a good student, and this has nothing to do with anyone else. You're not allowed to insult my teacher. Trash like you, my teacher, can defeat you with just one hand. What a joke. Did you guys hear that? Our head captain said the great teacher who taught him how to fight like a girl can defeat me with just one hand. I'm so scared. Why don't you bring her up here then? Below the ring, everyone laughed loudly. What 11 said was really hilarious. Did he lose his head after spending all that time with that woman? Tisk, it's over, head captain. There was a cold and murderous look in Yuan Sheng's eyes and his fist pounded 11's chest like he was a punching bag. At this moment, 11 was wide open and had no energy to retaliate at all. In the next second, the audience witnessed a flash before their eyes as something appeared abruptly in the ring. Following that, there was a loud pow that caused everyone to feel their blood run cold. That was the sound of two fists clashing together. When his fist knocked into that delicate little fist, Yuan Sheng's entire being retreated many steps and the smug look on his face froze. Yi Wanwan's slender body stood in the ring. Not moving an inch, she looked at the man who had begged for her to step up. Her eyes had no warmth at all and her cherry lips spat out 3 icy cold words, as you wish. Chapter 571, Roll down from this ring, Miss Wanwan. Su Yi broke out in a cold sweat when he saw Yi Wanwan charging up to the ring and all the bodyguards were stunned as well. Teacher. I'm sorry, 11 clenched his fists and looked down. Yi Wanwan frowned and helped 11 up. I'm the one who should be apologizing. Due to her limited skills, she wasn't able to coach him well and didn't know about the knot in his heart. She felt an overwhelming sense of guilt to be called his teacher. Yuan Sheng felt a numb and painful sensation on his wrist and his eyes turned gloomy. The rumors are true, this woman is quite strong. Yuan Sheng stood there and said coldly, Miss Yi, no offense but this ring is meant for the competition between Dark Team bodyguards. It's not a bar where you can come and go as you like, breaking all the rules. When the other bodyguards heard what Yuan Sheng said, they were upset as well. This was a competition. Even as the mistress of the household, she couldn't simply butt in and mess things up. Furthermore, Yi Wanwan wasn't officially in that position yet. Yi Wanwan looked disapprovingly at Yuan Sheng and replied expressionlessly, Rules? If I didn't hear you wrong, you were the one who invited me up here and I was merely accommodating your request. Even if it's against the rules, shouldn't you be the one who's responsible? Yuan Sheng immediately retorted, Since when did I? Alas, he stopped speaking halfway as he recalled something. Seems like I did say that. Damn it, I blurted that out while trying to anger 11 just now. But in the end, this woman used it against me. The rest of the bodyguards were dumbfounded and looked at each other with confusion. Although what this woman said was forcing logic, they had no way of refuting her. Yi Wanwan let little stutterer help 11 out of the ring. With an iciness in her eyes, she didn't beat around the bush and directly said, "Come at me." Yuan Xing sneered. "TSK, I wouldn't dare. If I hurt you, I couldn't make amends for it even if I died 10,000 times. I can't bear the responsibility." Yi Wanwan didn't have a trace of any emotions on her face. "If you don't dare, then roll out of this ring." Yuan Xing was agitated and his face was filled with disdain and ridicule. This woman is brainless. She got herself into this, but she has the guts to speak so arrogantly. Exactly like 11, she lost her cool with just a bit of provocation. Indeed, trash will only produce trash. When the bodyguards below the ring heard Yi Wanwan's ignorant and arrogant words, sure enough, looks of disgust appeared on their faces. Is this woman dumb? Everyone gave in to her at the bar before. Does she really think she's some invincible kung fu master? She even recruited students of her own and challenged one of the strongest bodyguards. Who gave her the courage, huh? She's received so much praise that she doesn't even know the truth anymore. No wonder she produced a good-for-nothing like 11. She's unreasonable. How could this woman be compared to Miss Ruoshi? Yuan Xing sighed and looked at Su Yi awkwardly. Housekeeper Su, Miss Yi is really making things hard for me. I'll let you make the final decision. Su Yi's face was as black as the underside of a pot and he also had a terrible headache. He was in a dilemma and could only look at Yi Wanwan to plead for help. Chapter 572, Life and Death Are Determined by Fate. Great Aunt, could you please give me some face? I'm the host today. Too bad, Yi Wanwan was immovable like a mountain and looked determined to fight. Su Yi didn't have a choice and could only put on a long face. Hold on, I need to ask for instructions. Su Yi stepped to the side and hurriedly gave his master a call. After 2 rings, Si Han answered. Su Yi spoke anxiously, "Hello, 9th. Ninth Master, what is it?" The man's deep voice came through the phone. "What else?" "Your wife is causing trouble again. I might not be able to handle this situation anymore." "How could such a thing happen when she's just a spectator?" "I'm going to break down soon, alright?" Su Yi whined in his heart, but he had to suppress his emotions on the surface. He reported what happened with careful detail, then trembled in fear as he said, "This has never happened before. I really can't make a decision, so I'm here to ask you for instructions." "What should I do now?" "Your wife insists on fighting. I can't convince her not to, so please do something." Finally, after a short moment of silence, a clear and cold reply came, "Sure." What? Sure. What do you mean by sure? Su Yi was dumbfounded. He was about to speak when he heard his master's calm voice, "Follow the rules of a knockout tournament." What? According to the rules of a knockout tournament? Following the rules of a knockout tournament means that life and death are determined by fate. Master, did you make a mistake somewhere? If Miss Wanwan gets hurt, how am I going to answer for it? Hello. 9th, Su Yi was about to probe further but Si Han hung up. Seeing Su Yi in a daze, Yuan Xing said, "Housekeeper Su, Master obviously wouldn't allow such a dangerous event. I guess you better convince Yi." Before Yuan Xing could finish his sentence, Su Yi looked up and interrupted him. 9th Master agreed. What? Yuan Xing was stunned by his reply. All the bodyguards at the scene were astounded as well. Very soon, the shock in Yuan Xing's eyes quickly turned to a subtle happiness, but he acted like he was in a difficult position and said, "But if I accidentally hurt Miss Yi, I might not be able to account for it." Although Su Yi was at an extreme loss, he could only quote what Si Han said, "Master already ordered that it shall proceed according to the rules of a knockout tournament." When Yuan Wan heard that, she raised her brows slightly and her expression turned gentler. Su Yi's words ignited an uproar once again. Everyone below the ring was waiting for a good show. If she hadn't courted death, she wouldn't have to die, huh? Ninth Master is probably sick and tired of this woman acting up all the time and wants to give her a lesson, right? Yuan Sheng didn't have to be apprehensive about it anymore. Of course, he couldn't kill her, but it was perfectly fine to give her a little lesson. In the crowd, Luing looked towards the ring unsympathetically. He already knew this would happen. Someday, this woman would have to pay for her stupidity. Not everyone would give her face. With Yuan Sheng's audacious ambition plus the master's promise, he would definitely give this woman a lesson today and make a name for himself. After he received permission to proceed, Yuan Sheng wasn't apprehensive anymore. He looked content like he was sampling a dessert after a meal and spoke like a gentleman. Miss Yi, although this is a fair competition, you're a woman after all, so I will try to end this in 3 moves to prevent hurting you. Chapter 573, Tyrannical. Listening to how Yuan Sheng was pretending to have some humility, Yuan Wan stood in the same spot without any expression and didn't say a word. When Yuan Sheng was done talking, he adopted a starting pose, his palms faced forward with one leg striking high in the sky. His entire body was like a tiger springing down from a mountain, overbearing and threatening. Hee, this woman came at the right time. I was struggling over how to show my loyalty towards Miss Ruoshi. Below the ring, most people were cheering aside from Dark Team 1. After all, nobody liked having a woman running into the ring without permission, nor did they like being given orders and criticized. This woman courted death of her own accord. We can finally teach her a little lesson. She really thinks the Dark Team is weak, huh? Leader Yuan, 3 moves is too much, I think 1 move would be enough. She's so weak that I'm scared her bones will break with just half a move. Yuan Wan didn't care about this mockery at all. She placed one hand behind her back and turned to Su Yi. Can we begin? Su Yi coughed lightly. Yes, you may begin now. I have to remind you, Miss Wan Wan, fists and feet have no eyes in the ring and one is responsible for one's own life or death, so please prioritize your safety and don't act impulsively. You must not, Yuan Wan frowned. Naggy. Su Yi prepared a whole list of reminders that he didn't get the chance to say. Following Yuan Wan's scoff, an oppressive figure flew over. In the next second, there was a resounding pow. Yuan Sheng, who previously moved confidently and with ease, was like a kite with a broken string as he was sent flying across the ring. His body knocked against the pillar at the edge of the ring. The pillar cracked. Yuan Sheng spat out a mouthful of fresh blood instantly and leaned against the pillar for support so he didn't fall out of the ring. Su Yi, Yuan Sheng hadn't reacted to what happened yet when Yuan Wan's elbow appeared like a huge mountain and struck him on his shoulders. Yuan Sheng dropped to the ground in an instant. Su Yi, Yuan Sheng stood up and hadn't had time to process what happened when a terrifying figure charged at him. His body knocked against the same pillar again. Su Yi, bang, the pillar broke immediately. Yuan Sheng's body flew out and looked as if he was about to land outside the ring. This is bad. At this second, a powerful force grabbed Yuan Sheng's collar. That force brutally flung him towards the ring, then slammed him on the ground, causing an explosion of dust. Ouch! Cough cough. Within a short 5 seconds, there were 3 moves. Yuan Sheng's sternum was shattered into pieces, his back was unbearably painful and his face was bruised and swollen while fresh blood flowed everywhere. Yuan Wan looked condescendingly at the man who was about to fall out of the ring but was dragged back inside by her. She curled her lips lazily, speaking in a low voice, "You want this to end soon? I'm afraid I'm not going to let you. Let's take half an hour, not a second less." Pow! Yuan Sheng's body was sent flying like a torn rag once again. After that, the entire ring was filled with sounds of his body being slammed down repeatedly and the chilling sound of his bones breaking. There was a total of 8 pillars in the ring and Yuan Sheng already broke 5 of them. Su Yi. Chapter 574, Can Ninth Master Stand It? At this current moment, all the bodyguards stood there in a daze and didn't even breathe. Below the ring, someone swallowed with a loud gulp, Gulu. This, what's going on? It was like a feral dog was let off its leash. Nobody understood what just happened. Smash. After over 20 minutes, the sixth pillar was broken as well. Yuan Sheng's mind was in a whirl. He was already beaten senseless and fear encapsulated him as he watched the tyrannical figure make her way towards him. He rapidly crawled backward. How is this possible? How is this possible? This woman was simply the devil. No matter what moves he tried to execute, she somehow knew and was well prepared for them with knowledge of his weaknesses beforehand. The scariest part was her speed. She didn't leave him any time to think, messing up all his moves. According to 11's fight just now, she should only know how to defend and not attack, right? So how? Pow! Yuan Sheng was only halfway up when he was flung away horizontally, knocking into the pillar. He spat out fresh blood along with his front tooth. He laid on the floor on his last breath. He was already exhaling more than he was inhaling. Meanwhile, the seventh pillar split into pieces and fell to the floor. Oh my God, what happened? Did I see things correctly? Yuan Sheng was, actually, tortured. Isn't this a little too overboard? Someone took a big gulp. But Master said himself to follow the rules. Life and death are determined by fate, and even if someone dies in the ring, nobody takes responsibility. Everyone revealed an indescribable expression. Su Yi's mouth was wide open to the point that his jaw was on the verge of dropping. He suddenly realized why Master specifically stressed that life and death were determined by fate. However, even though that was stated in the rules, everyone normally tried to keep things tame during the competition. If anything fatal happened today, it wouldn't be too beneficial for Miss Wanwan's reputation either. Directly killing a bodyguard was a little too much. Su Yi was extremely anxious. He kept looking at the time, and once he saw that the time was almost up, he quickly yelled, "Miss Wanwan, time's up. Time's up. Quick, stop." Yi Wanwan turned to the gigantic clock and looked disapprovingly at Su Yi, who was in a panic. What's the rush? Aren't there 3 more seconds? Using the final second, a loud pow echoed and Yuan Sheng was sent flying to the 8th pillar with a kick. The pillar responded by breaking into pieces. This time, Yuan Sheng's body directly knocked against the pillar and broke it, then he fell out of the ring. Time's up. The fight was over. There was a complete silence. Su Yi covered his face and couldn't bear to witness what happened. Among the crowd, Luing stood in a daze. His face was ashen and stiff. How did this happen? Yuan Sheng's skills are better than mine, but how come Yuan Sheng couldn't even stand a chance in front of this woman? Under everyone's stunned gazes, Yuan Wan walked to the edge of the ring, step by step. Almost everyone by the side of the ring took a step back subconsciously. They looked at Yuan Wan like they were looking at some prehistoric monster. This was too brutal, huh? It hurt just to watch it. The main point is that she was really only using one hand, from beginning till the end. Can the sickly and weak 9th Master take this violence? With all the horrified gazes on her, Yuan Wan stepped across the floor stained with blood and jumped out of the ring. After which she turned to Su Yi and said, "You guys may continue." Then she turned and walked away without looking back at all. Chapter 575, An Unexpected Outcome. Su Yi stared at the retreating figure of the future mistress of the household and took a big gulp. He took a long time to compose himself before turning to the crowd and announcing, "Cough cough. The competition for head captain can't continue. The winner of the last fight was Yuan Sheng. Now, does anyone wants to challenge Yuan Sheng for the position of head captain?" Following Su Yi's announcement, all the bodyguards at the scene snapped back to reality from the bloody scene they just witnessed. A few of the team leaders who were qualified to challenge the head captain looked at Yuan Sheng, who was beaten to a pulp, then turned to look at each other, confused. Yuan Sheng's in this state right now, how can he continue to fight like this? We would have an unfair advantage, right? Furthermore, he looks so pathetic, we wouldn't bear to fight him. Yuan Sheng laid on the ground with his last breath, fresh blood still flowing out of his mouth, and his eyes were filled with gloominess and hatred. He couldn't accept this outcome at all. This idiotic woman. How could this happen? He was actually beaten up so badly that he couldn't retaliate at all in front of so many people. But no matter what, this post of head captain would still belong to him. Are you alright? Qin Ruo, she walked over hurriedly. She got Lu Ying and the others to help him up. Although events of the competition were different from what she expected, at least it was still within her control and she gained control over the post of head captain. If not for that woman, everything would have been perfect. Su Yi asked again and nobody responded. Hence, Su Yi coughed lightly and said, "Alright, since nobody wants to challenge him, then I declare that the head captain of Dark Team this time is, I want." At this moment, someone's stuttering could be heard. Su Yi turned to the youth who spoke up. "You what?" I want. Su Yi's head was covered in black lines. "You want to challenge him?" Little stutterer nodded. "Yes." "Su Yi, are you sure?" All the bodyguards started discussing amongst themselves. "Damn. Isn't this a bit ridiculous, huh? He's already beaten up and that guy still wants to challenge him." "Exactly. Winning a fight like that isn't really considered a win, right?" Little stutterer harumphed and glared at those people. "Why, can't I challenge him? Life and death are determined by fate in the ring. He can only blame his lousy skills for being beaten up like, that, it has nothing to do with anyone else, what has it got to do with me? Furthermore, I hate men who beat women up." It was so rare that little stutterer was able to speak with such eloquence. However, once they heard the last sentence he said, everyone's head was covered in black lines. Beat women up? Which eye of his saw Yuan Sheng hitting a woman? He was beaten up from the start, alright? It was simply tyrannical. Once little stutterer finished speaking, he hopped into the ring self-righteously. Hearing the certainty and confidence in little stutterer's tone, Yuan Sheng, who was already half beaten to death, was nearly angered to death by him. The result of this competition came almost without any suspense. Yuan Sheng was almost crippled by Yuan Wan's beatings. It was already very hard to climb back into the ring, and with a few attacks, he was kicked back down. Su Yi wiped his sweat and announced, "Little stutterer, no, I mean Feng Xianyi won. Is there anyone who wants to challenge Feng Xianyi?" Below the ring, everyone looked at each other, but none of them had the intention of going up. Lu Ying lost to Yuan Sheng and even lost his title as team leader, so he wasn't qualified to challenge the head captain at all. After 11 lost to Yuan Sheng, although he still held the status of team leader, he couldn't possibly challenge little stutterer. As for the other team leaders, the most skillful was the leader of Dark Team 3, but he already lost to little stutterer previously, so the other team leaders obviously wouldn't voluntarily ask for a snub. So, the result of this head captain competition. Su Yi saw that nobody else was speaking up, so he declared, since nobody wants to challenge him, the newly appointed head captain is Feng Xianyi. Su Yi's voice echoed throughout the training grounds as he announced this unexpected outcome. Chapter 576. Indeed, a little hardcore. There were no pillars around to act as barriers anymore, so Yuan Sheng's body flew directly out of the ring. He slammed onto the ground hard and couldn't move at all while he listened to Su Yi's announcement of the results. That blazing red vermilion bird ring fell to the ground with a ding, adding to the ridicule. Nobody expected that the post of head captain would actually land in little stutterer's hands. Damn. The post of head captain was settled just like that. This is legit. It wasn't 11 or Lu Ying or even the black horse, Yuan Sheng, it was actually this little stutterer. This is too unexpected. After all, most of them didn't have a clue who he was before the competition. Everyone from Dark Team 1 crowded around Little Stutterer and was extremely excited. Ha ha ha. Little Stutterer. You're amazing, wow. That was so unexpected. You're completely shameless, but I love that. Well done. This is how you deal with that ignorant bastard. Otherwise, we'd be letting him off too easily, huh? Little Stutterer corrected them sternly. Call me Feng Xian Yi, and. I'm not shameless, he's the shameless one, he beat women up. Leader ELE. 11, don't be, you upset. I took revenge for you already, ha ha ha. What Little Stutterer said caused everyone to burst into a fit of laughter. Even 11's serious expression turned gentler. But the coolest part was our Miss Wanwan's tyrannical fight. Yes. It was simply too gratifying. The way she beat him up made me feel so happy. Did you guys see that just now? That dumbass Yuansheng was still posing in the ring when Miss Wanwan sent him flying with a single kick. Who on earth would bother posing in a fight? Just go up there and end it right away. Yi Wanwan watched as Little Stutterer ran into the ring. She was shocked herself. However, she really liked Little Stutterer's style of doing things. Letting others have a taste of their own medicine. They say you're shameless. Then I'll be even more shameless. Yuansheng's expression when Little Stutterer went up on stage was even more tragic than when Yi Wanwan beat him 100 times. Currently, all the other bodyguards were deep in their own discussions. After today's competition, everyone looked at Yi Wanwan with a different light. I really didn't expect that woman actually has some moves. Yuansheng was completely defeated. Exactly. Even though Luing lost to Yuansheng, in the end, Yuansheng couldn't even fight this woman, so we can tell how strong she is without a second thought. No wonder Master was so relaxed and allowed us to follow the rules. Darn it, she looks so pretty and delicate too. Wasn't this a little too violent? Master's taste is truly hard to perceive. This is indeed a little hardcore. Miss Ruoshi. Yuansheng struggled to speak. Qin Ruoshi beckoned someone to treat Yuansheng, then she looked in Yi Wanwan's direction. A cloud of darkness entered her eyes. This time, although 11 was no longer head captain, he was still the leader of Dark Team 1, not to mention that the head captain was now Feng Xian Yi. As Yuansheng lost to Little Stutterer, he was only the leader of Dark Team 4. As for Luing, he was defeated by Yuansheng, so he wasn't even a team leader and was demoted to an ordinary member. Chapter 577, Legendary Expert. How is this possible? How did things turn out this way? The competition was over and people started to leave. Luing, who was previously so confident about getting the post of head captain back, watched as Dark Team 1 celebrated and cheered. He looked at Yuansheng being lifted in the air by the members of Dark Team 4 and stood there in a daze. Up to this current moment, he still couldn't believe the outcome of this competition. He didn't expect he would lose to Yuansheng. And he was even more surprised that Yi Wanwan's skills were actually at this stage. He always mocked her for barely having the strength to truss a chicken, he insulted her and called her a burden, but now it seemed like he was the joke. A complete joke. He couldn't even defeat Yuansheng, much less Yi Wanwan. He was born into an aristocratic family of ancient martial artists and thought he was better than others. He never cared about anyone else, but within a day, it seemed like his entire life was turned upside down. He finally realized that however perfect things might seem, there would always be stronger people out there. He heard light footsteps next to him and Qin Ruoshi consoled him gently, Luing, don't give up. You're still young and you can still improve, a failure or two is no big deal. Luing lowered his head. I just feel like a joke. I kept laughing at Yi Wanwan in the past, but in the end, I realized that I'm no match for her. I might not even be able to survive one attack from her. This fact alone was enough to crush him. Qin Ruo, she patted Lu Ying's shoulder. You can't make a comparison like that. Miss Yi is pretty gifted herself, and ninth master hired a great teacher to coach her so she could learn some self-defense. Naturally, she was able to make drastic improvements. As for Yuan Sheng, he was able to suddenly break through his bottleneck recently. He wasn't sure why, but at this moment, Lu Ying looked at this woman before him and the phrase Yuan Sheng mentioned before surfaced in his head. This is also what Miss Ruo she wants. Could it be that Miss Ruo she purposely trained Yuan Sheng to let him take the post of head captain? Lu Ying knew he wasn't as skilled as Yuan Sheng, and since this was the case, he shouldn't have any complaints, but this realization made him miserable. At the infirmary, Yuan Sheng quickly struggled to get up when he saw Qin Ruoshi walking over. Miss Ruoshi. Don't get up, just lie down. You're seriously injured, Qin Ruoshi said. Yuan Sheng's face was extremely gloomy. His swollen and bruised face looked even more hideous and awful at this moment as he said, Damn it. Miss Ruoshi, the post of head captain belongs to me. That woman suddenly appeared and caused trouble, going against the rules. You have to stand up for me. Yuan Sheng's eyes lit up as he continued, HNG, no matter how great that Yuan Wan is, she can never be compared to Miss Ruoshi. Miss Ruoshi, you're the true genius, you're gifted in many areas, practiced martial arts since you were little, gathered all the strong skills from various schools, and your skills are so unmeasurable that calling you a legendary expert might not even suffice. It was also because of your coaching that I had my breakthrough. Miss Ruoshi, I was groomed by you personally. Yuan Wan was obviously trying to provoke you by hitting my face like that. Qin Ruoshi naturally knew the motive behind Yuan Sheng's flowery praise, and she glanced at him plainly. That's enough, don't bring this incident up anymore. Ajo didn't stop the fight then, so it means there's no room for negotiation on this matter. Yuan Sheng felt indignant. Master is simply out of his mind. How could he simply allow that woman to interfere with the Si family's affairs and bribe others? But Miss Ruoshi, don't worry, I won't be like that idiot, Lu Ying, and only be devoted towards ninth master. In the future, if there's any news regarding this woman, I'll definitely report it to you immediately, not leaving her any opportunities to take advantage of. Chapter 578. With his master's EQ on the training grounds, Sui looked towards the cheering crowd surrounding Yuan Wan and his eyes flickered. At first, he didn't understand why master would agree to something so ridiculous and let 11 and Feng Xianyi hire Miss Wan Wan as their teacher. Now, he finally understood. Master was helping Miss Wan Wan carve a path for herself and was certain she could do it. The various factions in the Si family were very complicated and difficult to deal with. When the old master absurdly produced many illegitimate children, it caused the Si family to be in turmoil and the entire family nearly fell apart. The dark team old master left behind was a mess as well. It was only when the original master, who was originally disinterested in his right of inheritance, suddenly returned to power and quickly cleaned up the entire family that the Si family finally maintained some peace and stability for the time being. Under such circumstances, just saying, Yuan Wan will be the future mistress of the household, wouldn't be sufficient to tame all the powerful factions or eliminate all the voices of opposition. After all, with Yuan Wan's current status, pushing her higher up would only put her in more danger. This was also the same concern he shared with the others when Yuan Wan appeared before. In the past, Yuan Wan was too unrestrained. With a person like her by master's side, she really would get master killed someday. He also didn't understand why master would cling to Yuan Wan and insisted on pushing her up to that position. It was only recently that Sui gradually changed his attitude towards Yuan Wan. It was probably because he was extremely disappointed with his father that the old master never interfered with the family's fights, causing everyone in the Si family to nearly forget about his existence for a long time. From Su Yi's point of view, the master didn't have any demands or requests, he didn't care about anything and definitely didn't know anything about relationships. He never even took a proper look at his own so-called childhood sweetheart, Qin Ruoshi, before. After all, with master's EQ, women's actions were, in effect, simply for the blind. He would never get it. Hence, Su Yi was very surprised when his master, who never fought for anything, suddenly started vying for power. The second thing that was both unexpected and hard to understand was the intense manner that his master used to force a woman like Yi Wanwan to stay by his side. I wonder what sort of secrets lurk among all this. Not far off, the bodyguards were very excited. Miss Wanwan, you're awesome, you groomed a head captain. Actually, if it wasn't for that Yuanxing playing his dirty tricks, Leader 11 wouldn't have any problem being the head captain at all. Thankfully, our captain Xian Yi was quick-witted and didn't allow Yuanxing to have his way. The bodyguards spoke as they got closer to Yi Wanwan. Miss Wanwan, please teach us a few moves as well. Leader 11 said you're able to see through a person's weaknesses and loopholes with one glance. Just how do you do that? Me too, I want to learn too. Yi Wanwan laughed. I'll teach you guys whenever I'm free. Seeing this group of passionate bodyguards, Yi Wanwan was deeply moved. In her previous life, even when she was already married to Si Yihan and was the mistress of the household, nobody really respected her. The more Si Yihan protected her, the more she was a troublemaking vixen in everyone's eyes and the more they couldn't forgive her. But now, after the head captain competition, she actually received sincere approval from these people. These bodyguards, who revered martial arts skills, had an obvious change in attitude towards her. The head captain and leader of Dark Team 1 were even her disciples. Chapter 579, Can't run away from meeting the parents. Although this was just a small change, it gave her a sense of satisfaction. In her previous life in that inharmonious world, she lost herself and everyone denied everything she did. It was as if she was useless scum who had to do the bidding of other people. It was awful. Previously, she didn't have a choice and was forced to trudge ahead by fate, but right now, she suddenly felt so different. Maybe staying by Si Yihan's side might not be as scary as I thought. Miss Wanwan, don't break your promise, okay? Everyone cheered with excitement. After that, someone suggested, let's go get some drinks to celebrate. Ha ha ha, sure. Tonight, we have to drink till we're drunk. Little Stutterer skipped over to Yi Wanwan and invited her along. Teacher, you, CC come along, and drink too, Yi Wanwan asked. Drink? The second they heard Little Stutterer and Yi Wanwan's conversation, everyone turned dead silent and the lively mood instantly froze. 3 seconds later, a couple bulky men pulled Little Stutterer to the corner. Who said we're going to drink? Head captain, don't talk nonsense. You, why you guys, just said it, Little Stutterer said. No. We didn't. We're clearly going to diligently practice right now. A certain bodyguard corrected himself righteously. Right, you heard us wrong. The others chimed in. Damn. Letting Miss Wanwan drink, is he asking for a beating? That wouldn't be a celebration, that'd be hell, alright? Is our newly appointed head captain a little brainless? We were almost beaten to death that time, why would you make a suggestion like that? The bodyguards trembled as they looked in Yi Wanwan's direction. Miss Wanwan, we're going for practice right now. You should head back early to rest. Right, as if we're going to drink. After watching Miss Wanwan's amazing fight, we can't possibly still have the nerve to drink, right? Practice. Let's go. The group of people quickly dragged Little Stutterer and ran away the moment they were done talking. Even the injured 11 was unusually agile. Yi Wanwan stood there and didn't even have a chance to speak. Hey, what the? Why did they get so scared when I was invited to drink? I wasn't planning on going anyway, I have a date tonight. Yi Wanwan didn't bother with those strange guys. She cheerfully headed back and got changed. In the blink of an eye, half the time dedicated to curing Si Yihan she agreed upon with the Si family's elders had passed. During this period, Si Yihan's condition varied, it was sometimes good and sometimes bad. But Yi Wanwan was still worried and didn't dare to let her guard down. Also, there was another issue that was a bigger headache. Previously, to convince her parents that she had really gotten over Gu Yuze, she told them she had a boyfriend. In order to put them at ease, she lied and said her boyfriend was very ugly and extremely ordinary. Now, her parents asked about her relationship every few days and dropped hints that they wanted to meet him soon. They even said they wouldn't mind if he was ugly. Yi Wanwan was simply on the verge of breaking down. Even though Si Yihan already agreed to it, the prospect of him meeting her parents was quite unpleasant, and with his current condition, she didn't dare to provoke him. Yi Wanwan was in the middle of picking out her outfit while having a big headache over this dilemma when suddenly, her phone rang. Yi Wanwan trembled when she saw the caller ID. "I'm dead. Speak of the devil, Mom is calling." Chapter 580, Absolutely Wouldn't Mind If He's Ugly. Damn. Before, she was occupied with her studies and work. What excuse did she have now? The phone rang a couple of times before Yi Wanwan picked it up reluctantly. "Hello, Mommy, Wanwan, are you busy today?" Yi Wanwan didn't dare to answer immediately. Instead, she asked in a serious tone, "Mommy, is anything the matter?" Liang Wanjun replied, "I knitted a sweater for you. When are you free to come over and pick it up?" "Oh, maybe in another 2 days. Can it wait until the weekend?" Yi Wanwan asked. "Sure. Why don't you invite your boyfriend over too?" Liang Wanjun tried pushing. "Yi Wanwan, I fell into the pit anyway." Yi Wanwan coughed. "On the weekend? He's been working overtime the past few days and might not have the time." "I see." Liang Wanjun sounded a little disappointed. Since Yi Wanwan rejected her so many times, she sensed something was off, so she remained silent for a while before carefully asking, "Wanwan, you're not hiding anything from me, are you?" Her daughter kept telling her that she got along well with her boyfriend, but on the other hand, she said she wanted their relationship to be stable before bringing him home. She tried probing many times but was always brushed off, so it was hard not to suspect that something was wrong. Truly, a mother knew her daughter best. "I was so careful, yet Mommy could still tell." Yi Wanwan felt guilty and hurriedly replied, "Nah, how could I hide anything from you?" Liang Wanjun's tone became stern. "Then tell me truthfully, how's your relationship with your boyfriend? Did something happen between the two of you?" So she was worried about this. Yi Wanwan heaved a sigh of relief and explained, "Nothing happened. We're doing great, what problems could we have? He's not a young master like Gu Yuze and doesn't fool around, he's really loyal to me. Since that's the case, Daddy and Mommy don't have to worry anymore. We just want you to be happy. With your older brother like this now." Liang Wanjun sighed. "Mommy, don't worry. I'll be fine." Hearing her mother bringing up Yi Mu Fan, Yi Wanwan's face turned gloomy. Although her relationship with Yi Mu Fan hadn't worsened lately, it hadn't gotten any better either. Her brother wouldn't listen to anyone anymore because of the drastic changes in their family, in addition to Shen Mengqi's whispers in his ear, so it was no use even if Yi Wanwan kept nagging. Whenever Shen Mengqi encountered any troubling issue, she made Yi Mu Fan deal with it. He thought she trusted him and found him important. Now, he would only learn his lesson if he suffered a big loss at the hands of Shen Mengqi. In her previous life, he was abused by Shen Mengqi until there was no good skin left on his body, yet he still foolishly earned money for her. Never mind that he was used, but he even implicated their parents. In this life, Yi Wanwan had to teach him a lesson. Liang Wanjun relaxed slightly. "That's good. Wanwan, it's great that you think this way. Daddy and Mommy are really glad you've moved on. It's better to find a boyfriend who treats you well and is down to earth. It doesn't matter how he looks, your dad has the same sentiments as well. We absolutely don't care about his looks." Liang Wanjun emphasized once again that she didn't care about the appearance of her future son-in-law. As the Yi family had great genes, Yi Wanwan had high standards ever since she was little and was especially critical about appearances, so Liang Wanjun was worried this would cause a conflict between Yi Wanwan and her boyfriend. Yu Wanwan couldn't tell her mother her real issue, so she could only agree, Mommy, I know. I hate handsome and rich men who attract bees and butterflies everywhere they go. Yu Wanwan was right in the middle of making a solemn vow and assuring her mother, so she didn't notice who was behind her. Chapter 581, Don't you know how good-looking you are? Mommy, I know that. I hate those handsome and rich men who attract bees and butterflies everywhere they go. Yu Wanwan was right in the middle of making a solemn vow and assuring her mother, so she didn't notice who was behind her. Right at this moment, there was a sudden creaking sound of the door and the balcony door was pushed open without warning. Yu Wanwan turned around instinctively when she heard that, then she saw Si Han's tall and lean figure standing there with a book in hand. As she specifically asked Si Han to dress casually for the date that day, he was dressed in a simple white shirt and a bluish-gray cashmere coat. His dark, unstyled hair seemed unusually soft. He had a high nose bridge, his thin lips looked fickle like it was suppressing a sensual passion, his cold and clear eyes didn't have a speck of dust in them and he seemed much younger than usual. Plus, this thick aura of self-restraint was simply lethal. Si Han seemed to have overheard her last sentence and he narrowed his eyes slightly. As for Yu Wanwan, she froze and remained in the same position, holding her phone as she stared at the unbelievably stunning face before her in a daze. Oh my god. Why would Si Han be here? Ah. Mommy, I have to hang up now. I'll chat with you again soon. Bye-bye. Yu Wanwan quickly hung up then swallowed hard. She turned to Si Han and stuttered, You, why are you in my house? Si Han strolled in then replied with 2 words without any expression, good lighting. Alright, the lighting on my balcony is definitely the best. Si Han often comes over to my balcony to read or rest. Shit, I'm too careless. I don't even know how much Si Han heard. Yu Wanwan glanced at him carefully then tried probing, I was speaking to my mom just now. How much did you hear, Si Han? Not much. Yu Wanwan still felt uneasy and she continued probing, how much is not much? Si Han looked at her and was quiet for a second then he repeated, I hate those handsome and rich men who attract bees and butterflies everywhere they go. Yu Wanwan was speechless, damn it. He actually heard that. Yu Wanwan hurriedly hopped over to explain. That's a misunderstanding. It's definitely a misunderstanding. You know, I was just saying that for my parents. I love men who are good-looking, rich, and attract bees and butterflies. Otherwise, I wouldn't be so smitten by you. Si Han's eyes flickered. Attract bees and butterflies? That's right. Did I say something wrong? Don't you think this face of yours is enough to attract bees and butterflies? Don't you know how good-looking you are? Yu Wanwan said seriously and started to suck up in all kind of ways. Si Han's lips twitched slightly, but from his expression, it was obvious he wasn't upset about it anymore. Yu Wanwan knew how to weigh his words and interpret his expressions since they'd been together for quite some time. Even when Si Han had facial paralysis, she could read his emotions and knew that the crisis had passed. Hence, she heaved a sigh of relief and continued to placate him, wrong. Doesn't matter if he's rich, poor, handsome or ugly, they have nothing to do with me. I only like you, baby. Chapter 582, Great White is just fluffy as the easiest to coax great devil in history. Si Han was defeated once again as expected. He took a glance at the girl who was covered in dust. Have you had enough fun today? Enough. Yes. It feels amazing after moving some muscles. Wait for me, I'll get changed then we can go shopping, I'll bring you to eat some good food. Yu Wanwan hurriedly changed the topic then disappeared into the changing room like a wisp of smoke. That was close. I'll find a chance later during the date to bring up the thing about meeting my parents. Si Han watched her retreating figure as she skipped away. His eyes were like the deep sea beneath the moonlight, yet it was subtly fluctuating like strong waves. While Yuanwan was changing, Siyihan waited downstairs, and so was a big white tiger. Slaughter spent most of his time in Jean Garden these days and was fed by Yuanwan till his coat was sleek and smooth, his body plump and strong. Shortly after, Yuanwan was done changing and she came skipping down the stairs. She wore a light pink A-line floral dress with a bluish-gray woolen jacket that was the same color scheme as Siyihan's, revealing her fair collarbone and slim, long calves. The design of her white kitten heels was special. They looked like a twig lined with flowers that wrapped around her slender ankles. Her naturally curled black hair fell beautifully on her shoulders and swayed gently with her movements. Her eyes were filled with fragments of light. She jogged lightly towards him. It was as if a blazing sun ran into his chest, causing the iciness that hadn't melted in years to thaw. "I'm done. We can leave now." The second Yuanwan said that she saw the big white tiger, sprawled across the floor akin to a white velvet carpet, lift its head up to look at her. That gaze seemed to be reminding her of something. Yuanwan hurriedly slapped her head. Wait. I have to feed Great White." Previously, she always stole food and sneakily fed it to Great White. Now that she was more daring and seeing that Siyihan didn't seem to care, she fed him openly. Siyihan sat on the sofa and shot a glance from his periphery at the white tiger whose presence was unpredictable in the past. For some reason, the tiger was always lazing around Jean Garden nowadays. His gaze was indescribable. After some time, Siyihan asked, "Did it get fatter?" Yuanwan happily ran over with the steak in her little hand and paused before replying in a very serious tone, "Nonsense. He's not fat at all right? Great White is just very fluffy." Fluffy. The corners of Siyihan's lips twitched subconsciously. Yuanwan was very satisfied with this assurance she gave herself and continued feeding him merrily. The fluffy Great White laid there lazily and enjoyed his steak leisurely. He swayed his tail lightly and didn't even mind when Yuanwan secretly rubbed his hair. "Oh, truly, like owner, like pet. Actually, Great White is just a little sassy, he's not that scary." After Yuanwan was done feeding Great White, she held Siyihan's hand and they left. Outside, a group of bodyguards was about to leave for drinks and coincidentally bumped into Yuanwan and Siyihan walking over from the courtyard. They were totally scared out of their wits and immediately took off at lightning speed and hid behind the bushes. "Quick, hide. Don't blow our cover." They already told her they were going to practice. Everyone watched as the vicious and violent girl from the ring just a while ago, now dressed in a pretty little dress with kitten heels and was holding their master's arm, looked so fragile like a little bird. Chapter 583, Fingers Intertwined. Audio, "My wrist hurts so bad, I think I sprained it." Yuanwan started whining. Although she had been training for some time and was much more flexible than before and didn't ache as badly after doing strenuous exercises, her body was still slightly sluggish and she still couldn't perform as well as she wanted to. Every time she fought, she didn't feel carefree or uninhibited enough. "I think I could actually perform better." The people in hiding couldn't help but shudder when they saw this scene. Yuanwan's cute and gentle demeanor was even scarier than when she was violent. They were actually worried that the weak and ill ninth master couldn't handle her, but it was a baseless fear. This person was as obedient as a little kitten in front of ninth master. It was evening and they were on a lively street with vendors peddling on both sides. The whole place was bustling with activity. Although the street was quite out of the way, it didn't seem to affect their business and there were even quite a few tourists present among the crowd. Yuanwan held Siyihan's arm and said, "The food sold along this street is delicious and cheap. Most importantly, they have almost all kinds of snacks from different countries. I used to come here very often with my parents and older brother. The fine food on this street contributed quite a fair bit to my weight gain. Even my brother gained a full 10 kilograms because he kept coming here with me." Siyihan listened intently as she spoke. Judging by his expression, it was clear that the divine great devil didn't even know this sort of place existed in Imperial City. After all, This man didn't even know what cotton candy was. Boss. Get me a candied haw. I want that, yes, that huge one. Alright, make sure you hold it properly. Thank you. Yuan held the stick of shiny candied haw and asked the divine great devil next to her, do you know what this is? Si Han looked at Yuan with a look that read, do you think I'm an idiot? Yuan then asked, then have you eaten one before? Si Han, ha, I knew it. Yuan put the candied haw near Si Han's mouth. Quick, take a bite. It's pretty good. Si Han looked at the shiny red balls before him which looked like they were made of rubber and furrowed his brows. He shifted away and didn't seem very willing. You don't want this? What do you like to eat then? We'll go buy it. Seeing that Si Han didn't want to eat it, Yuan didn't force him and happily took a big bite. Her cheeks bulged out as she chewed skillfully and smoothly like a little squirrel. Over there, I think there's... Yuan was about to speak when the man next to her leaned over suddenly, lowered his head and gobbled half a ball of candied haw. Yuan blinked. I thought you didn't want it. Si Han chewed it expressionlessly. The sweet and sour taste slowly spread in his mouth and it wasn't as intolerable as he initially thought. Hee, good huh? Let's go. I'll let you try something better. Yuan took the lead excitedly. As it was very crowded, she was squeezed to the front. Si Han frowned. His long legs increased their speed, trying to catch up with her. He didn't seem very pleased. Don't run around. Well, let's just do this then. Yuan pulled open his wide palm and their fingers intertwined. Si Han lowered his gaze and looked at their hands. N. Chapter 584, This is your son-in-law. Yuan was akin to a hungry wolf among a flock of sheep. She kept buying tons of food every few minutes. Si Han's hands were almost full. Yuan turned around and looked at the iceberg beauty with his hands filled with bags of delicious food. She suddenly found this man glorious and glistening, a feast for the eyes. He's too perfect. What is it? Si Han asked when he noticed Yuan's blazing stare. Yuan stood on her tiptoes and pecked him on his cheeks. Nothing much, you look really good. Can't I take a longer look? Si Han's gaze instantly turned more intense. Yuan was basking in the moment with the beauty by her side and great food around her, so she didn't notice the two people behind her. At this moment, Liang Wanjun and Yi Xiaoting were following behind Yuan with bewildered looks on their faces. Both husband and wife were initially there to shop and eat, but they suddenly saw a familiar figure who really looked like their Wan. Yi Xiaoting was suspicious. Did you see the wrong person? You just called her and she said she's really busy. How could she be here shopping and eating all of a sudden? It's Wan for sure. How could I not recognize my own daughter? Liang Wanjun was certain. Yi Xiaoting took a glimpse at the man next to the girl. Who's that man next to her then? Both of them were holding hands and acting so intimate, they were obviously lovers. I thought Wan's boyfriend is very average. Wan mentioned a few times that he looks extremely safe. This definitely doesn't match her description, right? Which part of this man is ordinary and safe? Liang Wanjun wasn't sure either. Strange, what's going on? But that girl is obviously our Wan. But why would Wan be shopping and eating with such a good-looking man? Could it be that I'm old and saw the wrong person? The husband and wife still weren't sure after following her for some time. Finally, Yi Xiaoting told his confused wife, why don't you just try calling her name? Liang Wanjun thought about it and after getting slightly closer, she called out, Wan. In front, Yuan was thinking about what to eat next when she suddenly heard an extremely familiar voice behind her. Hence, she turned around instinctively. Then she saw her own parents standing there. In the next second, the smelly tofu in Yuan's hands smashed to the ground and she was dumbfounded. Wan, it's really you, why are you, Liang Wanjun looked at her daughter, then at the tall, extraordinarily good-looking, eye-catching man who had a strong presence. She was completely shocked. Yi Xiaoting was stunned as well. Wanwan, this is... Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan's heart burst into a tsunami, turning the sky and earth upside down. Shit! Must I be so unlucky? She didn't even have the chance to tell Si Han about meeting her parents yet. In the end, she bumped right into them while shopping and her cover was blown just like that. Damn! How should I clean up this mess now? Her first reaction was to let go of her hand, but Si Han grasped her fingers even tighter. Yi Wanwan stood there in a dilemma and nearly broke into tears. Daddy, Mommy, please. I beg the both of you to stop looking at your daughter like she cheated on her boyfriend for a gigolo, alright? Actually, he is that ordinary and safe future son-in-law I was talking about, ah. Chapter 585, Bring misfortune to the entire nation. Sometime later, the four of them sat down in a restaurant at the side of the street. Yi Wanwan buried her head and kept drinking her cup of juice, wishing she could drown herself in it. Sitting next to her, Si Han was expressionless and sat there with a straight back. As for her own parents who sat facing them, they kept sizing Si Han up and made lots of different expressions. This group of four looked really weird and attracted quite a bit of attention at the restaurant. Of course, most of them were women staring at Si Han and whispering to one another. After a moment of awkward silence, Liang Wanjun couldn't hold back anymore and spoke up first. Wanwan, what's happening here? Who is this man? Why are you with him? Yi Wanwan considered her words carefully. Mommy. Wanwan, Mommy knows you suffered a fair bit in the past, but there are some things you can't do. You can't become like the person who hurt you. It was obvious Liang Wanjun misunderstood Yi Wanwan and thought she was triggered and was taking revenge on society by betraying her boyfriend. After all, when she called just now, Yi Wanwan said her relationship with her boyfriend was great and didn't have any problems, yet in the next moment she was with another man, so it was only natural that Liang Wanjun would misunderstand. Yi Xiaoting's face turned grave. He looked at Si Han and asked in a deep voice, "Do you know she has a boyfriend?" Si Han, yes. When Yi Xiaoting heard that, he exploded in fury. If you knew, why are you still with her? Liang Wanjun was in total disbelief. The two of you. Wanwan, your boyfriend's so nice to you, how could you do something like this? Yi Wanwan couldn't take it any longer. Wait, Daddy, Mommy, please calm down. It's not what you guys are thinking. I didn't cheat. Yi Wanwan was left with no other way. She gritted her teeth, then hugged Si Han's arm. Because, he's my boyfriend. The cold aura around Si Han dissipated due to the girl's hug and a hint of surprise flashed across his eyes. Yi Xiaoting and Liang Wanjun looked at each other in confusion. Liang Wanjun looked like she didn't completely understand what happened. What did you say? He is your boyfriend? Yi Xiaoting furrowed his brows. Wanwan, don't lie to us. You have to tell us the truth. This isn't how you described your boyfriend before. I'm telling the truth right now. I lied to you guys then and said that my boyfriend looked very ordinary and ugly because I was afraid you guys would be worried after seeing how he really looks, and wouldn't let us be together. Things had already reached this point, so Yi Wanwan had to be honest now. Liang Wanjun and Yi Xiaoting were taken aback. They hadn't expected that things would be this way. As for their daughter's explanation, the two of them were initially still quite suspicious, but when they took a second look at the man's face, they suddenly felt that their daughter's words were quite believable. Because this man's appearance really made them worried. With a face like his, he would attract tons of bees and butterflies, and judging by his mannerisms, he probably wasn't a simple man. Just a while ago, so many young women looked over at him. Yi Wanwan explained to her parents and kept glancing at Si Han. It's all your fault. Why do you have to be so good-looking that you can bring misfortune to an entire nation? Why do you have to be so rich too? Quick, think of a way to give them a favorable impression of you. Chapter 586, Not scientific at all. After receiving urgent looks from Yuan Wan, Si-han stood up to excuse himself and headed to the toilet. After much deliberation, the man whipped out his phone and tapped open a WeChat group consisting of 3 people which he had never spoken in before. Si-han, how do I leave a good impression? At the same time, in a certain bar. Lin K was initially looking at his phone out of boredom when all of a sudden, he saw something on his phone. He spat out a mouthful of whiskey directly across to Xia Zhizhi. Pfft, fuck. Lin, why are you so disgusting? Xia Zhizhi patted the expensive suit he was wearing in disgust. Lin K exclaimed impatiently, no, quick, read the group chat. Xia Zhizhi pulled out his phone lazily. What group? Lin K howled, WeChat group. The one with 9th brother Ah. The 10,000 years lurker king has finally spoken. Ever since this guy got a girlfriend, he completely abandoned us in the Siberian desert, hasn't he? He doesn't even return our calls or reply to our messages and disappeared from the face of the earth. He doesn't even go to the office anymore. This is just like the poem, she slept till the sun rose high, for the blessed night was short. From then on the monarch no longer held morning court. 1. Si-han, how do I leave a good impression? Lin K, Xia Zhizhi. At this moment, the 2 men stared at that mysterious message in silence. Lin K muttered, do you think 9th Master's phone is hacked? Xia Zhizhi frowned. Which extraordinary hacker could do that? Lin K was astonished. So this is really him. He forgets loyalty when in love, why would he care about us? Could it be that they broke up, haha? 9th brother is finally returning to the single dog trio, huh? Single dog trio. Xia Zhizhi gave him a side eye. Don't include me. Even though all the girls in the entire country like you, so what? You're still a single dog. Lin K mocked him and dragged Xia Zhizhi into it. Then he hurriedly typed a reply. Lin K, 9th brother, you finally appeared. Leave what good impression? Good impression to who, huh bro? Are you facing some problems in your relationship? Quick, tell little bro here. Lin K excitedly waited for some juicy gossip. Within less than 3 seconds, a reply came, Si-han, Wan's parents. Lin K was stunned, then he started whining like his heart was aching, damn it. 9th brother actually went to meet her parents, I thought they broke up. In the end, they actually reached the stage of meeting her parents? With our 9th brother's EQ, how is this possible? It's not scientific at all. In the group chat, Si-han at Xia Zhizhi. Si-han chose to ignore Lin K and directed his message to Xia Zhizhi. Lin K was instantly offended. Why must he direct it to you? That's too unfair. Xia Zhizhi chuckled and replied with a voice message, baby, are you sure, you need to leave a good impression? Lin K quickly chimed in, that's right, 9th brother. You're so handsome and rich, why do you even need to leave a good impression, huh? As for this question, Si-han, who was in the hallway, decided not to answer. It's exactly because I'm too handsome and rich, that's why. Lin K, so 9th brother, trust me. With your qualities, you'll get full marks with just that face of yours. When you meet them, just dress as well as you can. Xia Zhizhi, why don't you just give them a 1 billion dowry? Si-han, after some time, the WeChat group indicated a notice, your friend, Si-han, has left the group, Why did he leave? I thought our ideas were quite brilliant. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.